Hey gut lovers, Alyssa Labrecque, nutritionist and gut expert. I wanted to talk to you about a really important topic today, and that's probiotics. A lot of people often think that probiotics are the missing piece to why their gut is so angry. And the truth is that often going and buying expensive probiotics really doesn't do a whole heck of a lot. And so I wanted to share with you today why taking a probiotic may not have worked and what you need to do before you take a probiotic. So let's dive in. I'm excited to chat about this because this is actually one of the big mistakes that I made when I was trying to fix my gut initially years ago. The very first thing that I did was I started Googling, and everyone was talking about probiotics, and it was really confusing because I went to the health food store and you look at like the big fridge, deer in headlights of everything from a $5 probiotic to like a $60 probiotic. And you're like thinking to yourself, what is the difference? Obviously I'm going to buy like the $10 probiotic. and then when that doesn't work, you think, I know, it must be because I cheaped out. And so the next time you go back, you try a more expensive probiotic. And before you know it, you've been trying all of these different bottles and nothing's really happening. And in some cases, you actually feel a bit worse. And so this is exactly what I did, and it was really just purely out of overwhelm and desperation to get to the root of why I was fluctuating between diarrhea and constipation, why I was feeling so bloated that I just thought I was fat and having to wear yoga pants all the time. There was a lot of different digestive symptoms that were going on, and again, I want to stress that probiotics are often not the answer. So let's talk about what you need to do before starting to take a probiotic. Okay, the very first thing that I want to help you guys understand is there's a certain pecking order to fixing your gut. And I'm going to share a specific analogy that I love sharing with our clients inside my Love and Trust Your Guts program. And that is, I want you to imagine your intestines are lined with chairs, like the chair we sit in, okay? Now, in those chairs, if they're full, there's not really any room for anyone else to sit down. It's kind of like musical chairs. We all know that game from when we were growing up where there was, let's say 5 chairs and then 7 kids, and we'd all be running around the chairs, and as soon as the music stopped, everyone would try and sit down and grab a chair, and then whoever didn't have a chair was out. Well, it's the same thing with our bacteria. So the problem is often not that we don't have enough good bacteria alone. Sometimes that's not even the issue for some people, which is why we love testing. Often what we'll uncover is for some people, they have more than enough good bacteria. That's not really the predominant issue. In others, yes, there is a deficiency going on. But why is that happening, and does it warrant a probiotic? In both of those cases, we often don't recommend probiotics, believe it or not. And here's the reason why. If your chairs are occupied by bad bacteria, when you take a probiotic and they travel through your intestines, there's nowhere for them to latch on, sit down, and repopulate. Make sense? So what ends up happening is they can sometimes benefit the gut depending on the strain while they're in your digestive system, but you end up pooping them out and you end up with really expensive poop, right? All those supplements end up just traveling right on through you and nothing's actually taking hold. So this is a really important thing to understand, the pecking order to fixing your gut. Starting with a probiotic is never the answer. I mean that, never the answer. So here's the second thing that you need to understand. The second piece to this puzzle is that the mistake that happens for a lot of people is they're under the impression that the reason why they have gut issues is because there's some sort of nutrient that's lacking in the body. In this case, good bacteria. In other cases, we see people taking random vitamins and minerals, multivitamins, vitamin D, B vitamins. They're taking all of these supplements because they think the problem is their body is missing something. But the real issue is that there is stuff in your body that does not belong there. That's what we need to be focusing on. Now, what stuff? What am I referring to? Well, it can be toxins, pathogens, and or stealth infections. The bad guys. These guys are what are creating inflammation, creating damage and deficiencies, and that's the thing that we have to remember, is that if in fact you are depleted in a particular nutrient, or you are in fact depleted in good bacteria, why is that happening? It's actually often a result of the toxin and or pathogen. So the answer is not to take the vitamin, mineral, probiotic, whatever. We have to remove what doesn't belong inside your body. And this is why I'm talking about there's a certain pecking order to fixing your gut. We've seen this time and time again with test results. Often we'll see individuals who have test results that indicate that they're low in good bacteria. And when they come to us, they've been taking high doses of probiotics, and they're still showing so low. Well, why is that? Back to our chair analogy, if your body is full of stuff, toxins, pathogens, stealth infections that don't belong in the body, that are occupying the space, then there's nowhere for those probiotics to latch on and repopulate and benefit the gut. So the pecking order is so important. Okay. The third thing I want to talk to you guys about is when it actually is time for you to take a probiotic, because probiotics can be important. It's not that probiotics aren't beneficial for the gut. It's that often people are taking the wrong probiotic and or they're taking them at the completely wrong time. Okay. So the third thing that you have to remember is that probiotics are vast. We see this when we go to the health food store and we get, again, deer in headlight look, because there's a wall of probiotics and all of them have different strains, different strengths. And I want you to imagine this like your hometown or city. And in your home or your city, all of the people that live there, they all have different personalities, right? Even within your own home, each individual has different characteristics, different personalities, and different traits. And so it's the same thing with our beneficial bacteria that live inside our body. We have thousands and thousands of different strains that reside in our whole body, not just our gut. And the interesting thing is that when we go to pick certain strains, well, those strains have individual characteristics and personalities. And what they do is they benefit our gut in different ways. For example, there's certain strains like Acromanzia, which is such an incredibly important beneficial strain that we test for with our clients when they come to see us, because Acromanzia is like the queen bee. It's responsible for mucosal health. It keeps your gut lining nice and healthy, and it produces this mucus layer that protects the gut lining from invaders, from toxins and pathogens. And so understanding what each individual strain can do for you is so important, because you may be supplementing with a particular strain that's offering you benefits that you don't need, when you might actually need Acromanzia, or you might need Saccharomyces boulardii, or lactobacillus. There's all different kinds of strains, guys. So you may just be taking the wrong one at the wrong time. And so I want to wrap this up with a really simple formula and a simple thing to remember when approaching probiotics. Remember, the very first step that you have to take is you have to remove what doesn't belong in the body. Toxins and pathogens. These are what are causing deficiencies and damage inside the body. So that's the first step, okay? The second step is then you can inoculate the gut with beneficial bacteria. One more analogy, because you guys know I love analogies. This just helps you guys give a really good visual of what's going on. So if we were to plant a garden, we can't plant seeds in pavement. We can even try planting seeds in sand. I'll tell you this quick story. When my husband and I, we got married in my in-laws' backyard, and they live just around like the corner, really pretty much across the street from a beach. And so their whole yard is like sand. And there's grass, but it's mostly weeds because it's not really a great place for growth. It's sand. There's not a lot of nutrients. And so before the wedding, we decided we were going to do some work on the yard. We planted a whole bunch of grass seed and we planted trees all around the perimeter of the yard. And they all died. All of them, every single one of the trees, we probably planted about 50 trees, dead. They didn't even make it a year. So back to, again, planting seeds. We have to plant seeds where the soil is rich and nutrient dense. And I want you to imagine your probiotics like seeds. And many of you guys are trying to plant these beautiful seeds that can offer you the most beautiful garden and the most abundant health in pavement or sand, in a gut that is full of toxins or pathogens. And so that's, again, guys, why we have to start with step number 1, remove what doesn't belong, and then step 2, we inoculate the gut. I hope this was helpful. Let me know what your questions are below. We'll chat soon. Bye.